Hello, everybody. Wonder how many. Oh, looks like I've got 5 people. Excellent. Um, if anyone's got any questions, could you please type it out or something? Let me know if you've got any questions. The intent was to focus on cross-legged poses here, learning to sit more comfortably cross-legged. But if you have any other questions, are there actually people who are interested in learning to sit cross-legged, or are you just watching because it's a live stream and you just want a practice? Is anyone going to say anything? If not, I'll just continue. I'll do some suggested exercises for sitting cross-legged. And actually, all right, well, I'll go ahead. Thank you, Sober Suds. So if you've got problems with tingly, losing blood circulation in your legs, what can you do about that? To be honest with you, I'm not sure, but here are some suggestions on what you can try. So if you are sitting cross-legged, okay. So one thing that you can try doing is if you sit up like this with your hands behind you, one basic exercise you can do, and this relates to cross-legged because while you're cross-legged, something that you could try doing is rotating your shin as I'm doing. And you may find that's something that helps your circulation, and it depends where it is. So one thing you can try is rotating your shin, your front shin or your back shin, see if that makes it more comfortable. Another thing that you could try doing is varying the tilt of your pelvis to see if that makes things more comfortable. You may even find trying to increase the cross of your legs or decrease it, even noticing things like how your back foot, how that foot is positioned under your shin. So changing things like that, changing your foot position may help. So what I'd suggest to get used to, first of all, the shin rotation exercise, what you could do, or the shin rotation action, what you could do is if you sit with your hands behind you like so with your feet on the floor, you could focus on one leg at a time. What you could try doing is rotating your shin relative to your knee. And what might help when you're doing this is if you focus on one leg at a time, the idea is you're trying to rotate your shin and your foot relative to your thigh. So I'm not moving my knee out or in, I'm just rotating my shin and my foot together like so. So outwards, relaxing, outwards, relaxing. What you may get is some tension behind the knee as you do that. So you can practice rotating the shin outwards. You can also practice focus on rotating the shin inwards. And inwards is actually generally a little bit more difficult for most people, for a lot of people. And yes, you could do it while sitting in a chair. So ideally, you've got a chair that isn't rotating, but if that's what you've got, that's what you've got. So you can do the same thing while sitting in a chair. You can have your foot on the floor, maybe lift the forefoot so you can pivot on your heel, rotate the shin out, relax, rotate the shin in. And I'm doing this a little bit quick so that you can see the actual action that I'm trying to do. And then again, I'm only doing this one foot. Once you get the hang of the action, what you can work on doing is try to slowly rotate outwards, relax, slowly rotate inwards, relax. And whether you do a bunch of rotations outwards and then a bunch of rotations inwards or alternate, both are fine. Then what you can do once you've practiced both one leg and then the other leg, you can practice both of them together. You could be wearing shoes, it doesn't really matter. Rotate outwards, maybe feel any change in sensation behind the knee, rotate inwards. Now, one thing to note that may be helpful when you're doing these rotations, whether you're sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor, is to make your foot feel stiff. And I'll demonstrate that quickly while sitting on the floor. So while you're sitting on the floor, an exercise that I like to teach, you could have your knees bent like so. You could have your knees straight. And what you could do to begin with is just wiggle your toes. And while you're wiggling your toes, notice the change in sensation in your toes and in your feet, and even in your ankles while you're wiggling your toes. If you wanted to, you could wiggle your fingers as well. Excuse me. But then what you can try to do is spread out your toes, make your toes feel long. And this can be difficult for a lot of people, particularly if you haven't done it before, but do the best that you can. And again, practice and then relax. So slowly spread your toes, make them feel long, and then relax. If you wanted to, you could do your fingers at the same time. So spread your toes, spread your fingers, and relax. You can keep on repeating that. And again, try to do it slowly and smoothly. And one thing you can do is if you find that one foot is difficult to spread and lengthen the toes, what you can try doing is adjusting it. So while spreading your toes, you can try moving the foot slightly forward or back. So I'm focusing on this foot here. Another thing that you could do is try turning the foot in or out. So as you're spreading the toes, if you find one foot is different, so for me, this foot tends to be bad. So I do this foot first. I try and spread the toes, and then I focus on adjusting this foot, maybe either forward or back, slightly in or out until I get even sensation, then relax. Then I spread the toes, lengthen them. And the thing to notice while you're spreading your toes, once you get the toe spreading action, is to notice the stiffness in your foot that results. Relax. So what you may get as you spread your toes, should get tension at the front of your ankle or the back. If you don't, try moving your forefoot forward or back slightly. Then relax. And another thing you can notice when you're spreading your toes, notice the tension here. Also notice any sensation, any muscular activation, any tension in your calves. So the idea of doing this exercise is to learn how to stiffen your feet, how to give them feeling. Okay, David, I'll get to your question in a second. So just continue on. So the idea then, spreading the toes, you learn to stiffen the feet. And then what you can do while doing the shin rotation exercise, and this one would be good for you, David. This is actually one that you should be practicing, especially for the knee, is what you can do is spread your toes so that your feet feel stiff. You can do this on a chair as well. Then from there, with the foot stiff, then try rotating the shins outwards. You may get tension at the back of the tendons of the knee, at the tendons at the back of the knee. Relax. So spread the toes, make the feet stiff, roll the shins out, feel the tension in the back of the knee, relax, and then do the same thing, rotating inwards. Spread the toes, rotate the shins inwards. And here, try and get tension on the inside tendon. It may be difficult. Try to rotate inwards as much as you can. If you don't get it, don't worry too much about it. Might be more important just to work at doing both actions. So rotating in, do try to get tension there, but keep your feet stiff while doing so. So doing that in a chair, you can do much the same thing. You can stiffen the feet, perhaps by spreading the toes so that your ankles feel strong. And then from there, rotate your shins out. Feel the back of the knee, relax. Spread the toes, feel so that your feet are strong. Then rotate the shins inwards. And again, notice that sensation. That's something that you can practice just to get some control of your lower legs. And what you can do, so this was the purpose of it, is to sit cross-legged. And then from here, you may have to adjust the position of your feet. So if your front foot heel is under the shin when you're trying this exercise, you may need to move the foot forward slightly. And then what you can do from there, so even if your legs are up here, you can try rotating the shin out so your heel lifts. So this would be the same as external rotation. Then relax and then rotate the foot. So then lift the front of the foot. So that would be internal rotation. So doing this action here. So that's something you can try with the front foot slightly forward. Try rotating the shin outwards, inwards. And do that a few times and then try it with the other leg forward. So rotate the shin outwards, rotate the shin inwards. And rather than just doing it like quickly, rotate outwards, quickly rotate inwards, what I'd suggest, work at doing it slowly and smoothly. Rotate outwards, rotate inwards. You can practice one repeatedly. So rotate outwards, relax, rotate outwards, relax, rotate outwards, then rotate inwards, relax, rotate inwards. Then you can try doing the same thing. You're going to be limited with the back foot. So what you could then try doing is with the heel actually under the back leg shin, you can try the same thing. So this leg is going to lift as a result. Try lifting the heel. Relax. Lift your heel. Relax. Lift your heel. Relax. And then you try lifting the forefoot, lift the forefoot. And that's going to be a little bit, maybe a bit more difficult, but do the best you can. Relax. Lift your forefoot. Relax. And then you can try doing the same thing with the back foot. That's hard to see. So lift the heel, relax, lift the heel, and then lift the forefoot, doing the same thing. So as for which leg is in front, what I would suggest is practice with one leg in front, then practice with the other leg in front. And what you may find is it feels really weird until you start getting used to it. The other thing is, if you find in one position your knee hurts and it continues to hurt, then you're going to have to, depends if you've had a recent injury or not, but what I'd suggest, work towards being able to sit with both legs crossed and work towards doing these exercises with either cross of the leg. But if with one cross of the legs it hurts your knee to do that, leave it out until the point when your knee actually feels comfortable enough that you can do it in both positions. So just do the one that you can do. Good morning. Okay, so questions we're getting now are with slouching, but just before, so with the leg numbing thing, so the shin rotations might be one thing. Another thing that you could try doing is maybe, so if I sit up straight, you could try bending your feet back. And again, for those people who have trouble sitting up straight, you could do these same exercises sitting against a wall. And obviously not an angle. I'm just doing this so you can see me. But what you could try doing is bend the feet backwards while sitting upright, bend the feet forwards, bend the feet back, bend the feet forward. And then once you've practiced that, you can try that also while sitting cross-legged. And again, if you have troubles, you can do this while sitting up against a wall for now. You could even do it with your back on the floor like so. But for now, just to finish off the leg numbing problem, so that's something else you could try doing is maybe bending the tops of the feet backwards, like that, bending the tops of the feet backwards. You may find you could play around with that to see if that helps prevent any numbing action. You could also try pointing your feet like that. You may find you get calf cramping. Something else you could do is turning the feet, again, while sitting in staff pose, practice turning the feet in and out, in and out. And that too is an action you can practice while sitting cross-legged. So it's hard. Rather than saying in and out, you can just turn the feet one way, turn the feet the other way. So maybe using your soles as the reference, turn the soles of the feet up, then turn the soles of the feet out. So that's something else you can play with. And one other thing, so that's mostly been focused on the knees, on the lower legs. Something else you could focus on or that you can play with if you get numb legs is your hip positioning. And this is something you can do in a chair as well. And for those who have problems with slouching, this is actually a good exercise for slouching. It's actually, this looks a bit rude, but actually feeling your pubic bone. So this is an exercise for both people who have problem with numb feet or feet that get numb. And again, it's not a guarantee. It's one thing that you can play with to try to alleviate numbness. But if you're a sloucher as well, if you tend to sit cross-legged and you're like this, you can do this exercise while sitting in a chair to help get awareness of your hips, because eventually you want to be able to do these same actions while sitting cross-legged. But if you don't know what it feels like while sitting in a chair when it's easier, then it's harder to get the feeling when you're actually sitting on the floor. So what you can do while sitting in a chair, sit towards the front, feel your pubic bone. You could also focus on your sacrum. But what I'd suggest, the first action you can do sitting forward is try to lift your pubic bone. So when you lift your pubic bone goes up and your sacrum will go down. So you can just practice this action. And again, do it slowly. Relax, pubic bone up, and then relax. And what you can play with, because sitting cross-legged, your legs are going to be like that. So instead of sitting with your legs parallel, sorry, it looks a bit rude if I do it like this. You could try sitting with your legs apart. So it's a bit more like the position you are when you're sitting cross-legged. And here, what you could try doing is sitting, pubic bone up, and then relax. And notice I'm sitting far enough forward that I'm not sitting back on the chair. So pubic bone up, relax, pubic bone up, and then relax. And when you practice that, then do the opposite action, pubic bone down, relax. And there's a couple of ways you could do that. You could keep your chest upright, pubic bone down, or you can move your chest and your pubic bone together so it's more like this. Either option is fine, just so long as you focus on feeling your pubic bone, move it down. And as you move your pubic bone down, try to feel your hips and then relax. So move your pubic bone down, feel how it feels in your hips and relax. And what you could do, particularly if you're really slumped when you sit cross-legged on the floor, work at going as low as possible. So if you can only go this far, don't try and force it. Just practice pubic bone down. See if you can go a little bit further each time. And what you can do is, rather than keeping your legs in the same position, maybe it's like this, try varying the distance between your feet or your knees. You could even try keeping your feet in position, moving your knees outwards or moving inwards. So play around with it. See if you get stuck. See what you can do to make it easier for you to bend forwards. I'm going to stop there for a minute. I've got to read up on these comments. Okay, so sitting up against the wall, that's a interim measure so that you can work towards not sitting up against a wall eventually. And I still got to get back to David's comment about the knee. Okay, let's go to slouching first. And if there's any more problems, okay, so we're going to go with the slouching problem first and getting away from a wall. So one thing that you could try doing, and again, this can go back to being in a chair first, is while you're sitting in a chair, you can try lifting your pubic bone. And it's very important. So all of these exercises assume that you're not just going like this and this. All of these exercises are instructions. When I say focus on your pubic bone, don't just do the movement, actually try to feel it. Because only all of the stuff I teach is based on people learning to feel different parts of their body. And then when you can feel it while sitting in a chair, you can carry that down into sitting cross-legged on the floor. So sitting on a chair, what you can do is lift your pubic bone, and what will happen is your chest will move back. But what should also happen is that your abs engage, and that's good, so long as you aren't sitting back on the chair. So feel your abs engage and then relax. So pubic bone up, feel your abs engage, relax, pubic bone up, feel your abs engage, and then relax. And what you could try doing while sitting on the floor is maybe start with your hands behind you. And instead of moving back, what you're actually going to try and do, so notice my knees are lifting as I do this. So say you're like this already, sitting cross-legged. What you can try doing is, without allowing your rib cage to move, lift your hands and feel your abs engage, and then hands down and then relax. So try to lift your hands. So as you do that, you'll feel your abs engage. They'll have to engage in order to keep you sitting upright. Hands back and then relax. Try to lift your hands, feel your abs engage. Hands down, relax. Feel your abs, lift your hands, and then relax. Now, what benefit is that exercise? Nothing else. Is to get you used to feeling your abs. It's to get you used to feeling your pubic bone. It's also to get you used to feeling to get used to the idea that even if you're not upright, you can at least hold this position for a little bit. And what you could try doing is tilting back just enough that your legs are light on the floor. Then try switching your legs. And if you like, put your hands on the floor. So try lifting your hands, switch your legs. And the reason for doing this exercise is to get you used to using your hip muscles. So you probably feel tension in these muscles here when you're doing this. Obviously, you'll have tension in the abs because your torso is backwards. But it's just something to get used to using your hip flexors. And hip flexors may be helpful in actually pulling you into a more upright position, but there's something tight that's preventing you from doing that. So we need to do some more exercises to cover that. Okay, manual. I won't do any serratus anterior activation for today because the focus was on cross-legged, but I will do another video on that later. I want to continue with the cross-legged ones for this one. So if you do have any questions for stuff which isn't related to sitting cross-legged like this, write it down. I do hope to do a few more of these live sessions to cover any questions. So anyway, let's go back to the chair a second. So again, this is for the slouchers. So we've already done pubic bone actions. For this one, focus on feeling your sternum, the chest bone. So very simply, let your chest bone move down. So slump, and you may be like this anyway, but see if you can relax and slouch down. And then from there, move your sternum, your chest bone upwards, and then relax. And notice when you first begin, it may be like this and then like this. Work at doing it slowly and smoothly. So slowly lift your sternum. So as you do that, your back will bend backwards and then relax. So notice what's happening to this part of my back. As I lift my sternum, this becomes a little bit, so this area here becomes straighter, and then relax. So again, lift your sternum and then relax. And what you could try doing is move your pubic bone down. Then from there, lift your sternum up. So as you lift your sternum, you should find that your abs feel like they are lengthening. And then relax, so chest down and your pubic bone can come up. So pubic bone down, lift your sternum, and then relax. And if you wanted to, you could change your foot position if you needed to, if you have any discomfort in your hips or if things don't feel quite right, or if you wanted to get more closer to a cross-legged position, you could do it with your feet like this. Either leg in front is fine, switching your legs if you need to. So from here, what you could do, pubic bone down, lift your sternum. And what you should notice, or what you can notice, as well as your abs lengthen, you may notice, let's see if I can get the light. What you may notice as you lift your chest, you may get muscle activation here. So a strong feeling of muscle activation either side of the spine. And that's something that you can aim for when doing this exercise once you get used to it. So you drop your pubic bone, you may get tension in this region right here. Then when you lift your sternum, you also get tension in your upper back as well. I'm going to show you that from the back. So pubic bone down, see if you can feel this activating. Sternum up, see if you can feel your upper back, and then relax. So that's something, and actually going back to if you have numb legs, that's another exercise. Even though it's not focusing on the legs, you may find that something helpful. You can give that a try. Pubic bone down, lift your sternum to see if that helps alleviate any numbness in your legs. It may help, it may not. Sometimes you just have to play around with these different things. Now, going back to the chest. Okay, so sometimes, so another exercise, and this is general, this is both for numbness in the legs. If you get any sort of discomfort in one leg and not the other, and also this was a comment, sober suds, cramp in lower right back. So one thing that you can do is while you're sitting, and you can do this again in a chair also, you can lift one sitting bone. So the sitting bones are the bones you feel when you sit down. So even like this, those are the sitting bones. And actually, I'll do this like this in case you aren't quite comfortable sitting cross-legged. You could grab the shins if you wanted to. You could have your hands on the floor, or you could just have your hands free. Just practice lifting a sitting bone and then lifting the other sitting bone. So it's like you're trying to discreetly fart, if you like. So lift one sitting bone. So I'll show you from the back. So I'm lifting here, so I can feel this side pressing down. Then I'm lifting here. And the thing so that's a pretty basic exercise, but the thing that you can focus on, as well as noticing the way your sitting bones press down, what you can also notice, so I'm keeping, rather than going like this, I'm keeping my rib cage upright like this, so I'm lifting like that. So you may notice some tension or change in sensation between here and here. And then when you go to the other side, again, notice the change in sensation. And you can practice that, change the cross of the legs, and again, practice like that. So a couple of things you can do. So first of all, it can help you notice your waist, but it can also help you notice something as basic. When you're sitting up like this, or like this, or in a chair, and if you find you get pain on one side or the other, one thing you can do, the first thing you could do, notice, do you tend to sit with one sitting bone lifted? Or maybe they're both on the chair, but you tend to press more into one sitting bone than the other. So that's something very basic that you can focus on, particularly if you have problems with, say, one leg or one side of your lower back. So sitting on a chair, sitting cross-legged, this is something very basic that you can practice. And you can notice as well, while I'm pressing one sitting bone down and the other, notice how my rib cage moves from side to side. That is actually another exercise that you can practice. You can try moving your rib cage to the side so that this sitting bone presses down, so that this sitting bone lifts. Then you can move to the other side. And again, as you do that, notice how this sitting bone presses down, this sitting bone lifts. And what you can do is that too, this action too, when you practice. And another way you could practice is go into the middle position, just go one way. Middle position, go one way. Middle position, go one way, and then repeat to the other side. But the thing that you can notice is when you're doing this, notice the changes in sensation. So going that way, I notice a bit more tension. So going that way, I notice the sensation around about here. Going that way, I notice the sensation. And it's hard for me to define, to say exactly where the sensation is. But what I can try doing is making the sensation when I go this way. When I go this way, I can try to make the sensation reasonably the same. And if I notice a big difference, that means that I have to go a little bit deeper. Now, another thing, and this is again for the lower back problem. For the lower back problem, I'm just checking here. Okay, so for the lower back pain, it's one nice thing about wheelie chair. So as well as moving your rib cage this way and this way, something else you can do is try turning your rib cage one way or the other. And this is, it's not quite, it's not quite cross-legged, but it's an exercise that you can do while sitting in a chair and cross-legged, just to work on your body awareness, to get rid of any asymmetry. So another basic exercise you could do is to turn, focusing on your sternum, move your sternum, say one way to the left. So notice the tension in your waist, tension in your ribs. Relax, you can repeat that a few times. Then move your sternum to the right. So you're actually turning your rib cage to the right. So let's do that a few times. So you can do it in the chair first. Turn left. Relax. Turn right. Notice I'm not using my hands. You could rest your hands on your knees if you needed to. And then before I go and do that on the floor, another thing you can notice, and again, this is for people who slouch, maybe be handy for people with knee pains, that's you, David, and may be helpful again for the numbness in the legs. I can't guarantee. All of this stuff is you have to, what I'm trying to teach in general is teach you to feel your body so you can have a variety of options for testing so that you can fix the problem yourself. So it's not going to be the same. The solution to the problem is not going to be the same every time. You're going to have to experiment. It's sort of like you're asking your body what it needs today in order to feel good. And then the more you do this, the easier it becomes just to fix your body because you've had enough experience. But still sitting in a chair, and if you're on the floor, you can do this on the floor as well, but I'm going to do this on the floor as well. What you can do as well as turning your sternum is to first turn your pubic bone. So turning your pubic bone, say to the left, I'm mirroring you. Then from there, turn your sternum to the left as well. And then relax. So pubic bone to the left. So pubic bone left, tailbone right. So I'm actually turning my hips that way. Then I'm turning my sternum, so I'm turning my chest that way as well, but relative to my pelvis. And then relax. So pubic bone first, then sternum, then relax. And then you can do that to the other side. So pubic bone right. So pubic bone right, sternum right. Relax. Pubic bone right, sternum right, and relax. You can repeat that a few times. If you can't sit comfortably on the floor, then continue doing that in a chair until it becomes easier. And then what you can do while sitting cross-legged, and what I'll suggest is practice this with this leg in front and then with the other leg in front. So what you can do, so pubic bone that way, sternum that way as well. Excuse me. Relax, repeat a few times, pubic bone, sternum, then relax. And then you can do the other side, still with the same cross of the legs, pubic bone, sternum, relax, pubic bone, sternum, relax. And again, rather than rushing it, I would suggest you're better off just doing it once, but slowly and smoothly, even holding it if you like, trying to go deeper, rather than just doing a quick couple of sets, trying to get maximum sets, and do it slowly and smoothly where possible. Then you can change the legs. It was a bit loud. So again, pubic bone, then sternum, a few times that way, pubic bone, sternum, a few times that way. Excuse me. So sober suds, doing this in a chair, I'm not sure if it's going to fix your leg or not. I'm not there to actually look at you. And it's not like making a cake where you have a set recipe. It's like you have to try a bunch of different things to see what works for you. So I'm giving you suggestions of what to try. And this goes for all of you. these are suggestions on things that you can work on. You have to, because I'm not here all the time. I'm only going to do this a few times a week. I'll help as much as I can, but the idea is to teach you to feel and control your body so you can figure out for yourself what works for you. So for example, if doing this exercise with the pubic bone, turning your rib cage, if that helps your shins, then do it. However, if it doesn't, then you need to try something else. So maybe rotating the shin in or out. If that doesn't work, try playing with the feet. If that doesn't work, maybe not twisting, but maybe just moving your pubic bone one way or the other. Or another thing that you can do is move your pubic bone down or up. Now, one thing, okay, I'm going to leave that there. Yeah, Manuel, I'm guessing you're talking about the twist. I like that one too. It's actually one, like I said, just focusing on the sternum, I can get quite a lot of action. And actually, just to give you something else to play with, and this isn't quite cross-legged, but since we've talked about the sternum, one thing, and this is, I guess is for Manuel, but since you're all here, you can do this as well. When you're doing the twist, and this can be on a chair as well, when you're doing the twist, so you can turn your pubic bone, say, to that direction, what you could then do is focus on the bottom of your sternum here. So the bottom of your sternum, also focus on the top of your sternum as two different things. So what you can try doing with the twist is turn your pubic bone, say that way, then turn the bottom of your sternum. Then if you can differentiate, try turning the top of your sternum. You may find you get an even deeper twist in your rib cage. So that's something that you can add. So repeating to the other side with the same cross of your legs or changing them. So pubic bone, bottom of the sternum, then top of the sternum. So if you turn your pubic bone a little bit, then you turn your bottom of the sternum, then you turn the top of the sternum. So each part of these is going a little bit deeper into the twist. So Buddy Hesty asked if you're always on your sitting bones. In general, when you're sitting on the floor, your sitting bones are always going to be there. The only time when you're probably going to be sitting on something else is if you lean back far enough that you can feel your sacrum, the tailbone, pressing into the floor. Cross-legged, it's really difficult to get far enough forward, at least for me, unless you've got a really different shaped hip bone. Going forward is going to be very difficult, unless you're right forward to get your pubic bone on the floor. So if the question is, should your sitting bones be on the floor there? In general, I think it's safe to say they're always going to be on the floor. The thing to watch out for is if you can only sit like this, if your tailbone is on the floor. I don't know if that's actually dangerous, but be aware you're going to be placing pressure on your tailbone, which might affect your SI joints, and that could cause problems. I'm not expert enough to say, but in general, your sitting bones are going to be on the floor. And the point of what I was talking about, the sitting bones before, is when you're sitting cross-legged, whichever leg is in front, try to have relatively, depending on what you're doing, try to have relatively even pressure on both sitting bones. So if it isn't, notice where it's different. Either adjust your twist or the side-to-side positioning of your rib cage so that you feel comfortable, so that you have relatively even weight on both sitting bones. Now, what I should do, okay, good. That's thanks, Manuel. So this is for the people. So just doing these exercises by itself probably won't be enough to improve your ability to sit cross-legged. So what sort of exercises would I recommend? Probably one of the most basic is a lunge like this. So I'm assuming you might be up like here. And the goal in this position would be to have your hands on the floor comfortably, then to be able to go down onto your elbows, and then even to be able to do a push-up. And you'll be looking at me and say, yeah, whatever, Neil, you're crazy. I can't even do it with my arms straight. And that's fine. So what we need is some tricks to make it easier to do poses like this. So it's not just holding this pose and waiting for your body to magically open up. You need to be actually doing something so that the muscles you're using get turned on. Yes, buddy, maintain. Try to get even pressure. And if you don't, sorry, just going back to the sitting bone pressure thing, if you don't have even pressure, you may do the best you can to get even pressure. And if you continually have problems with that, let me know and I'll do an update on that or stick something on at the end. But for now, assuming you're watching and doing this with me, what you can do is this a good position? Yeah. So what you can try doing is, how am I going to do this? Okay. So for this exercise, the idea is to notice pressure, and we're standing up here. But the idea is to get used to pressing down into the floor. Now, what you could do, I'm standing with one heel lifted. I can shift that way, so my weight's over this leg, and what I'll feel is my foot's pressing down. So you want that. Now, what you can try doing, keeping your body still, so not moving your body now, try to press your foot down with greater pressure so that when you do that, you feel this thigh becoming stronger. So I don't know if the light's good enough for you to see that. So all I'm doing is pressing my forefoot down into the floor so my thigh activates. You may get some butt activation as well. So what you can do, keep your body centered, keep your body still. So rather than moving and then moving back, so rather than going like this and then like this, keep your body over your forefoot, press your forefoot down. And notice I'm not lifting up. I'm just pressing my forefoot down, trying to press my forefoot strongly into the floor so that this muscle, this leg gets stronger. Then I'm going to relax. Press the forefoot down, relax. So get used to that pressing action. Then you can do it on the other leg. Press your forefoot down, relax. You may find this leg comes off of the floor. That's fine. But press down so that the muscles of this leg activate. Once you've got that, so any problems with that? If you have any problems with that, type it out now, and I'll show you the next exercise. So in this position, notice my hips. So I'm not like this. My hips are over my back knee. So here the idea is the same thing. Keep your body still, but now you're focusing on the heel. So the idea is simple. Just try to press the heel down. And as you do that, you should find you get this leg feeling stronger, and then relax. You may find your back leg activates as well. That's fine. That you're using your back leg to keep your body still. So try to press your front heel in as much as possible, heel down. So this feels strong, relax. So usually with my students, when I'm teaching this, I'll come and grab them by the leg and try to pull them up. And they have to resist, not let me pull them up. So you're trying to do the same thing. You're trying to push down. And if someone were to grab your leg, they wouldn't be able to lift you. So you can practice that. Get used to pressing down strongly, then change legs, press down, relax, and repeat that a few times. Okay, so a lot of these, so the comment there was about shaking. If you're not used to doing exercises, I still get muscle shakes sometimes, so long as it doesn't hurt. The important thing is that you can feel the difference when you're pressing versus when you're relaxing. So when you press, there should be a feeling like your muscles are turning on, your muscles are stronger. You may get some strong sensation in your hip joint, your knee joint, your foot. The most important thing is when you press down, make sure that you can feel muscles turning on. When you relax the pressure, your muscles will relax. Now they won't, if your weight's on your forefoot, you won't relax completely. There'll be still some pressure, some tension. The important thing is when you deliberately press down, you can feel an increase in tension. When you relax, there's a decrease in tension, muscle activation. So yeah, it's a good, what I'd suggest with these pressure exercises, because you're doing a lot of muscle work, you may need to, if you practice it one day, you may find that you need to rest the next day. So maybe try it every other day might be a recommendation. So 3 times a week if you're using this sort of exercise. But going back to the cross-legged and working cross-legged, what you can then do in this position, is prevent your hips from lifting, focusing on your front leg, your heel, press your heel down. So as you do that, you should notice tension in your thigh. I'm getting a little bit tension behind the knee, but also the top of the thigh, and then relax. So press the heel down. Let's see if you see that. So again, focusing here, press your heel down strongly. So your forefoot can lift, that's fine. Make sure you get pressure in your heel. Make sure you're not allowing yourself to lift. So press down so the leg activates, and then relax. Press down, relax, press down, relax. And you can do the same thing on the other side. What I'd suggest when you're doing this, 3 to 5 times should be sufficient. If you're really enjoying yourself and you really want to work out, you could try a few more times if you like. Another option you can do is to maintain the push. See how long you can hold the push with the pressure, pressing your heel down, and then slowly relax. Push the heel down, maybe count to 5, but slowly, and then relax. And what you maybe notice, each time I relax, I go down deeper. My body allows me to go deeper. So notice that each time when you relax, see if you can feel your hips going deeper. So you'd be on your hands. So when you relax, see if you can sink a little bit deeper. And if you wanted to, you could try it like this. This might be better. Press a heel down, relax, press a heel down, relax. So another point, so doing this exercise, you may get some, if you do it enough, you may start to get discomfort. So an important point is to notice your knee. So when you are pressing the heel down, one way you can adjust this is to maybe move your knee slightly out or in. There's no set rule, or you have to move your knee out, you have to move it in. Try to feel it, adjust it yourself. So rather than suddenly doing it, just move slightly out or in, and you can do that repeatedly. See if you can feel a position that feels more comfortable, and then relax. So press the heel down, move the knee in or out as you need to, and then relax. So you can repeat that a few more times. Okay, good. Now, just as this isn't cross-legged, but this is something else that you can practice. So that lunge is one exercise that you can practice. As, excuse me, as you get more comfortable in the lunge, you can try it with hands down. You can try it with torso upright. What you can also try doing is when your body's ready for it, see if you can get your elbows on the floor. And to make that easier, put the outside elbow on the floor first. So that might be a first step. And again, you can do the heel pressing, press the heel down, relax. Then as you get more and more used to it, you may find that eventually you can get the other elbow on the floor. It may take some time. Do the best you can. But when I first started doing yoga, gosh knows how many years ago, I too was pretty inflexible. So some of this does take a lot of work, but what I'd suggest is, and again, no guarantee, but my suggestion would be the more you focus on feeling your body, the more you do it slowly and smoothly, hopefully the faster your progress will be, but that's not a guarantee. I wish I could say, yeah, this will work. play around with it. Just do the best that you can. But just quickly, something else that you can practice. It's not sitting cross-legged, but equally important is kneeling. Yeah, I'll do some videos about flexibility. But since we're on that subject of flexibility, like, I mean, working towards sitting cross-legged, that could be one very, that lunge that we just did, pressing the forefoot down or pressing the heel down. That can be, one basic exercise for flexibility. And is this going to work? Another position that you can practice pubic bone awareness is kneeling. Hopefully you're comfortable kneeling, but if not, I would suggest practicing it. But here too, you could practice pubic bone awareness. So pubic bone down, pubic bone up. And one exercise I do like is pubic bone down, sternum up. So here I can feel these. So when I drop the pubic bone down, I can feel these activating. When I lift my sternum, I can feel these activating. So once I've done that, what I then try to do, and you can put your hands on the floor if you need to, is try to keep the back active and bend forward like that. Then come up and then relax. Pubic bone down, sternum up. Then keep the back active, try bending forward. And then relax. And another thing you can do, and actually this is nice. This is another, if you're used to doing this sitting in a chair, and actually you could do this sitting in a chair. So knees out or knees in. So pubic bone down, sternum up, feel the back muscles activating. Then from there, keep that same action, bend forward. If you need to, change the width of your knees as you need to, and then come up and then relax. Pubic bone down, chest up, bend forward. So if you wanted to work towards flexibility, this would be something that you can practice. So you get used to the feeling so that you can then work towards doing it with legs straight. Not that I can do it with, but you can work towards that. So, but then you can also do the opposite action. So while you could, and this is another bonus exercise you can do while sitting in a chair, you could lift the pubic bone up. Rather than just letting your chest come down, pull your chest down so your abs engage. Then keeping that, if your lower back hurts, leave this one out. But from there, keep your abs engaged, bend forward, come up, relax. So pubic bone up, sternum down, abs engaged, bend forward, and then come up. And then what you could try doing once you're used to that is bend forward. So pubic bone down, chest up, back of the body strong. Then pubic bone up, sternum down, front of the body strong. And actually that's probably a bit much, but those are some things you can play with, and you could do the same thing while kneeling. So pubic bone down, chest up, bend forward. So I've already explained the basics of this exercise, but then what you could do is try moving your pubic bone forward. Then from there, move your sternum back. Then sternum forward, pubic bone back, so you get the back bend. And bend forward. Bend back, so the back of your spine is strong. Bend forward, front of the body strong. Do be careful with that. If you find any low back discomfort, leave that exercise out, or you could always try it with your hands on the floor like so. Spinal back bend, spinal forward bend. Then as you get used to that, you can try lifting your hands. So for the hips, yes. The question there was, we need to strengthen the hip muscles to sit comfortably and cross-legged. I would say definitely. I would suggest, depending on your history, and again, I'm just guessing at this because You know, I used to sit like this, and it's been a lot of practice of yoga. Now my hips have opened up. I would suggest the most important thing is developing muscle control of your hips so that you can sit more comfortably cross-legged. And that was the reason, if you were here at the very beginning, it's not just strengthening the hips that matters for cross-legged, sitting cross-legged. It's also the muscles that do those shin rotations. They actually attach between your shin bone and your hip bone. So those are sort of hip muscles. So those are important for being able to do for being able to sit comfortably cross-legged. Something else that is important is maybe your thigh muscles, your quads and your hamstrings. And one reason to think about that is your quadriceps can help add tension to these long hip muscles. And that might make it easier to sit up cross-legged. Now, one other pose for flexibility that I do like, and this one's can be a bit uncomfortable, but it may be helpful, excuse me, for working towards cross-legged. You're gonna have to decide for yourself, but if you start in a lunge, and then from there, turn the front foot out. So I'm turning the front foot out 90 degrees, and then from there, I'm gonna move my back knee back, and then move this leg back. And notice how my foot is under the shoulder. So if I'm here, I'd say this position isn't going to be any use to you. Move your knee back so that the shin is angled like this, the foot's slightly turned out. Then here again, what you can do is that same pressing action. So you're not so much focused on the heel, you're focused on the blade of the foot. Do this slowly and smoothly. So rather than suddenly doing it, especially if you're new, try to, without allowing any movement, try to press this foot down, the blade of the foot down. See if you can get any tension here. If your knee hurts, then leave it out, or try adjusting slightly to see if you can find a position that doesn't hurt, and then relax. So press this foot down. So you should get some sort of activation along here, and then relax. Press this foot down, relax. And for me, I've gotten used to it. I remember when I first used to do it, it used to be very uncomfortable. I should point out here too, what you could try doing is going down onto your elbows as you get used to it. But showing you the setup again. So you start off with a lunge, turn the foot out, then move the knee back. And actually, so let's continue with this, and then from there, move the knee back. So it's like you're trying to touch the outside of the knee to the floor. And if you were going to go down, you were trying to get this shoulder to this foot like so. So from here, the exercise can be press the foot down, relax, press the foot down, relax, this foot, press it down, relax. Now, just doing that exercise, something else that may be helpful, you can play around with this, see if it helps or not. It just occurred to me while I was doing this. So going back to the first leg, turning the foot out, something that you may find helpful is try moving the knee forward a little bit, then move the knee back. So rather than pressing down, the focus is on the knee. Relax, move the knee back. So notice the sensations you get in the butt region. If it hurts your knee, leave it out, or try stiffening the foot. See if that makes your knee more comfortable. Relax. Stiffen the foot. So let's do that. Stiffen the foot first and then move the knee back. Relax. Stiffen the foot. Move the knee back. Relax. Yeah, if your knee feels uncomfortable, double over yoga mats. I don't know why I don't like using yoga mats in my videos. I like to be as minimal, as little reliant on equipment as possible. But anyway, if your knees hurt, stick something under your knee. Don't tough it out. Make your knees comfortable. Yeah, so if you have a shorter piriformis on one, Yeah, I don't know. And again, so the comment there is a shorter muscle on one side. And this too is part of the reason why I focus on feeling and controlling. The better you are at feeling and controlling your body, and while you're doing these poses, you can notice, particularly doing actions like pressing down, noticing the feeling when you do it on one side. So notice the feeling in this side, notice feeling in this side, and it becomes easier when you press down, relax, press down, relax, press down, relax. You can notice the sensations. Press down, relax, press down. Oh, it feels different. So it feels different on one side. Now, which side feels, say, better? So say this side feels better, memorize the feeling, then try to adjust so that you get the same feeling. And it might not happen straight away. You're going to have to do a lot of work, but be aware when you've got differences in sides, particularly when you're doing asymmetric poses or left right poses, use a sensation in one as a sort of a reference and try to match it, try to adjust the position the way you do the other side so that they match as closely as possible. And rather than trying to force it, do it slowly and smoothly, because sometimes you're going to need more, you're going to need to learn more of your body to find out what the real problem is that's causing the differences in length. But as much as you can, try to work towards symmetry or work towards getting even sensation in both sides. But going to the other side, I'm not sure if any of you are doing this with me or not, but so in a lunge, turn the foot out. So push the knee back, and then relax. And again, remember, slow and smooth. Push the knee back, relax, push the knee back, and then relax. Now, okay, so where are we going to go from there? So sitting cross-legged. Any questions of what we've done so far? Because we're actually nearly out of time. Wow. Okay, so anyway, main focus of those exercises. So the main exercise we got from that. So let me just review what we've done. And if you guys want another set on cross-legged, we could possibly do that. We'll see how it goes. But so just going back to the beginning, what we did shin rotations, which you can also do sitting cross-legged. We did movements of the pubic bone, moving left and right, up and down, either sitting on the floor or sitting on a chair. Sternum, moving it up and down. Also feeling your back muscles when you drop your sternum, when you drop your pubic bone, lift your sternum. Feeling your belly when you pull your pubic bone up and drop your sternum. So this is strong. What else was there? So those are some of the exercises you can do. And the general point of all of these is, and I forget who said it. Yeah, so anyway, a lot of the work is for getting comfortable cross-legged. It's not so much flexibility, or it's not just flexibility, it's learning to use your muscles. I'd say the main point of flexibility is being able to use your muscles, and that's a point I should point out here. When you use your muscles, when you actually turn your muscles on, your muscles are what help you to feel your body. It's not just this feeling, the muscle activating that you can feel. It's also the tension in your connective tissue, your tendons and ligaments. So those are so muscle activation gives you a sensation with the muscle, but it also creates tension in your tendons. That in turn also helps to keep your joints safe. It helps to add tension to the joint capsule. And all of this is what I suggest is muscle control. It's what keeps your joints safe. It's what enables you to feel your body. So the more you feel your body, the more you're learning to activate and control muscles. And that's what's going to help you to work towards being able to sit comfortably cross-legged. I'm just trying to think, is there any other exercise? One more exercise. I'll leave it at this. This will be the final exercise. So pigeon pose. So for me, I like to do pigeon more often than not with the front leg hip on the floor. If I was using the mat, my shin would be parallel to the front of the mat. There are a couple of ways you could do this pose, but one I'll leave you with here. So we did pressing the heels down. For this one, you can focus on pressing the outer edge of the forefoot down. Actually, there's two exercises you can do here. So one thing you can do, roll the shin out so the heel lifts, roll the shin in so the forefoot lifts. So heel, forefoot. So that's one exercise you can do. Another exercise you can do is practice pressing the forefoot, the outside edge of the foot into the floor strongly. So this activates, relax, press the foot down into the floor strongly, relax. So you can do that on the other side. So lift the heel, may feel some tension back in the knee, lift the forefoot, lift the heel, lift the forefoot. And then what you can do, also practice pressing the outside edge of the foot down into the floor. So initially you may be like this or like this. Either option is fine. If you were standing up, you could rest your leg on a fence or a table and do the same action, pressing your forefoot, the outer side edge of your foot down, and then relax. Now, another thing that you can do, and this gets more into strengthening the hip, what you could try doing, so as well as pressing the foot down, what you could try doing is lifting the foot up. Now, notice when I'm doing it, you may need to be on your elbow like this. Notice I'm not lifting the foot like this. Keeping the knee down and lifting the foot like so. Relax, lifting the foot, relax, lifting the foot, relax. Then what you could do is do the opposite action, lift the knee, relax, lift the knee, relax, lift the knee. So going on to the other side, lifting the foot. So I'm keeping my knee down as much as possible. So basically what I'm doing is I'm rotating my thigh. This would be external rotation, relax, like so. And if you need to, you can go like this or like this. Or if you're a bit more flexible, or as you get better at it, you can try being higher up and then try lifting the knee. So now you're rotating more inwards and relax. Another thing you can do while sitting upright, say sitting up against the wall, you could rotate your thighs out. So again, what I suggest, do this strongly, relax, rotate the thighs out, relax. You could be sitting upright as well. Rotate the thighs in, relax, rotate the thighs in, relax. And then what you could do, so if you wanted to get away from the wall, if you're stuck here, what you could do, rotate, pull away from the wall. And so the exercise might be, so maybe you're like this, pull away from the wall, rotate thighs out, relax. Pull away, thighs out, relax. Pull away, thighs out, relax. Then as you practice this, you can try sitting a bit closer with your bum closer to the wall. Pull away, thighs out, relax. Pull away, rotate thighs out, relax. You could also pull away, thighs in. Then gradually work at sitting closer till you can sit upright. And then the exercise can be, you might not even need the wall. Sit upright as much as you can, relax. Sit upright as much as you can, relax. Sit upright, relax. If you wanted to, you could be holding onto your knees. Sit upright, let go, relax. Sit upright as much as you can, let go, relax. And then the idea could be, each time you do this, you try to get a little bit more vertical, but this might take a few weeks, a few months. So do be patient with it, do the best you can, and work at doing it slowly and smoothly. In this case, it might be rather than spending an hour each time, you might be better off doing this regularly every day. It's something you could do as soon as you get up. Maybe straight leg first, sit up a little bit, sit up a little bit, then try it cross-legged. Sit up a little bit, sit up a little bit, then change the other legs. Sit up a little bit, like so. Yep, that's pretty. Buddy's just Booty has just dropped a comment, but that's a little bit of a spiel on what you can do to work towards sitting cross-legged. If you do have any more questions, please make a note of it. I'll leave a message board. Just put comments on here, and I think that's going to be it for now. I gotta go get some supper, but thank you everyone for joining me. And if you can still write comments, make a note of what else you're interested in over the next few weeks. I guess we're all going to be stuck indoors in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, let me know what you have problems with, and I'll do the next video to suit. And there's one about the serratus anterior, so we'll do some shoulder stuff as well. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you very much, and namaste. And hopefully see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.